Have you ever considered modeling? If you have, this is the episode. Stay tuned.
Over here at Everything NYC podcast, we like to discuss career paths and the different paths you could take. And today we have a guest. She's going to explain her path. So let's go.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
all right. We're excited for this. So, you have to start off by introducing yourself to our audience. So start with
Yeah.
your name, your age, what do you do, and how long have you been doing it?
Okay, great. So my name is Sonia. I'm 24 years old and I'm a freelance model. So I've been freelance modeling for about 5 years now. 5 years. Yeah, actually 5 years in January. So yeah, probably 5 years in a month now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a minute and I've gotten a lot of incredible opportunities that I'd love to talk about today.
Okay.
You're definitely here to talk.
So, how did you get into it? Talk about like the beginning of the journey.
Yeah, it was actually pretty random. So it was around like, I think 2017 or like the end of 2016, maybe. It was when I first ever started college. I went to Hunter College.
Okay. CUNY.
And so it was a commuter school. So I was only on campus for like a small amount of time and there wasn't really much to do. I was really looking for like a hobby, or just a way to explore more artistic endeavors. So that was already on my radar. And one day a photographer just kind of popped into my DMs and he was like, hey, do you want to collaborate? And at the time I was like, this seems sketchy. He's going to kidnap me.
DM's a sus.
So, yeah. So I asked a friend to go with me and it was a cultural shoot. So he had me wear like a sari. For those who don't know, a sari is like traditional desi wear. Like, it's like one huge piece of cloth that you wrap around yourself and throw it over your shoulder, and it's really elegant, and the women in my culture wear it. I am Guyanese though, so we
Okay.
tend to wear those things a little bit less, actually a lot less, than people who might have roots in South Asia directly. But yeah, when we have weddings and such, that's what we wear. So it was like this huge piece of cloth. It's like bedazzled. There's like gems on it. And I had my friend go with me just in case I got kidnapped. And her sister helps me to put on the sari because if you know, it's really hard to do on your own.
We know.
Like it's a skill. It's an art. So I had this entire team of people help me just get my shit together, really, and then come with me to the shoot. And it ended up being a really great experience. So there was a lot of like, don't look here, look there. Oh no, look here. Okay, do this with your hands. There was just a lot of advice I was getting from this photographer about how to pose properly. And I was really fascinated by the mechanics of it all, as well as just the technology he was using, because other than for maybe school portraits and things like that, I've never really been behind like a huge bulky camera and lights and everything. And it was just interesting how he was adjusting the lights to get the perfect shadows and everything. And I would see the shots and they would come out looking so beautiful. Like it looked like cinematography. It looked like art. And that's exactly what I was looking for in my college experience. So it really just kind of galvanized the rest of my modeling experience, I guess. And from there on, I just posted a few photos from the shoot and I would just keep getting opportunities. A lot of people would continue to message me asking me to work with them. And eventually I just kind of made it my thing. I'm still a freelance model. Right now I don't do as many collabs anymore though, because a girl's got to get paid.
Yeah.
It's hard out here. But of course, if I've worked with the photographer multiple times before and I really like their work and we've been wanting to work together for a while, then like I'll be like, okay. But usually I don't do collabs anymore. But it took me a while to actually get to a point where I had enough self-respect to where I was like, okay, I need to start charging right now for my time. Because oftentimes I find that photographers wanted to expand their own portfolios for free, and that's just not the way that it works.
Use you as a come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always needs to be a give and take.
Right.
No pro bono out here. Can I ask you on what type of model? Because it's different. It's like runway, booty models, IG. Like what exact type?
Yeah. So I would definitely say that I'm a beauty model slash IG model, I guess. Some of my work has been published, but I am trying to step out of the sphere of social media and I'm trying to get signed to an agency. So if you're watching and you're from an agency, your
Look
girl
at
is
that.
here.
She's trying to move away from the
Shooting my
IG
shot.
model title.
Booty
Yeah.
models
But I do like editorial shoots. I do beauty shoots, sometimes fashion shoots, but it's mostly been for like Desi brands. So recently I worked with the Regal Bride, and they're a Desi designer brand, and I modeled one of their lehengas. And if you don't know what a lehenga is, it's different from a sari. It's like a crop top and a long skirt and like a dupatta, which is like a scarf, and it's like bedazzled and it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Walter. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lovely ensemble of clothing, and so I have most experience modeling Desi clothes like that, mainly lehengas, and I've also modeled for Chahat Couture, and it was so much fun, and it's always been such a great experience working for Desi brands, being able to represent my culture in that way, because not only do I get to wear these pretty clothes and just embody who I am and my roots and everything, but I also get to work with an amazing team. Usually there's a bunch of other people there who share the same culture as me, who also like share the same cultural humor as me and everything. And it's a great, wholesome bonding time. So I've gotten, like, of course I've had great professional experiences modeling, but I've also made a lot of great friends as well. So it's been great.
Yeah, that's
But
good because
yeah.
being a beauty models, no height discrimination, nothing like
Right.
that, like runway models.
Exactly.
Runway models are typically like 7'5" and 6'12", and shit, so it's like it's good to be. You can
You're
just sit
twice
down.
my size.
Yeah, exactly. just your face, and you never faced any type of discrimination because you have an unconventional look,
Yeah.
typical look.
Right.
So, did you ever felt any discrimination against you?
I mean, I guess not in a negative way, I guess, but I definitely have been sought out by photographers exclusively because I look brown. Like I look, because I am Indo-Guyanese, so I am brown. But again, it's never been in a bad way, but I have had some photographers reach out to me wanting me to wear like cultural clothes for a shoot, but then they also wouldn't know anything about the culture, so it kind of felt like they were trying to expand their portfolio just to like like it felt like I was like a token model, and sometimes that would be an uncomfortable experience, especially when they're not really offering payment. I haven't done any of those shoots in a while, by the way. I've just kind of set that boundary where I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be modeling and I'm going to be using cultural garb for it, or like cultural outfits, cultural wear, I want it to have a purpose, Like I don't want to just go out there all like willy-nilly, just flaunting my culture just for the aesthetics of it, because it feels kind of like, even though I am brown, it feels like I'm catering to a crowd that doesn't appreciate it. Like it feels like I'm catering to appropriation almost. And it's not, it's just not a genuine feeling.
Nobody wants to be in that position.
Yeah, no one wants to. It's very uncomfortable.
Right.
So you mentioned that you're currently a freelance model and you're interested in an opportunity with an agency. What are you going to look for when you're thinking about potential agencies to partner with?
Yeah, definitely agencies that are aiming to expand the diversity that they have on deck. Like I feel like I'm seeing more and more brown models for sure, and more like POC, also people in the LGBTQ plus community, and it's great, but there definitely needs to be more. Like I feel like some agencies just have a couple of, once again, tokens, and while of course a lot of progress has been made, like that can't be denied, a lot of progress has been made, I mean, it's just the beginning. So definitely agencies that are open to petite brown models. A lot of the brown models I see are like the typical model, like runway height, which is fine, and they're all bad bitches, but we definitely need to expand the inclusivity here, to not just like the typically like conventional kind of models, Like I find that when there is when there are POC models, I find that they usually fit like the conventional standards. Whereas like there are like white models that can be petite, you know, that can be like mid-size and things like that. Whereas again with like POC, they have to be extraordinarily beautiful and also tall at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, there's like no in between.
And what strategy are you currently implementing to get noticed by one of these agencies? Like, do you have a portfolio and then you just send that portfolio out to everyone? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I'm actually working on putting out a website right now.
Okay.
So I have a physical portfolio, but I also find that it's just more accessible if I have things digitally available. So that's in the works, not available at the moment, but in the works, a work in progress. And in addition to that, like I do have, you know, my modeling digital, so I'll send those out to agencies as well. But right now, I'm just scouting for the ones that are, again, focused on inclusivity and diversity, and we'll go from there. You know, whatever happens, happens.
You said, since you know you have the unconventional look, who were some of your model influences growing up?
Growing up,
When you would look on TV and see, oh, okay, she's pretty, I could do this.
honestly, I don't think that growing up I ever saw anyone who looked like me on TV.
Nobody.
Yeah, no, honestly.
Me alone, nobody.
No, like there would be people who looked like they could be mixed or whatever, but it was really them just like enhancing their features so they looked a little bit like spicier, you know?
Yeah,
Like for instance, I love the Hadids. I love me some Bella Hadid. I think she's wonderful and she's a talented, like if there's any nepotism model that deserves their success, it's definitely her. But also she has had some of her features like enhanced a little bit to where she looks a little bit more, I mean, she is part Palestinian though, but to where she does look a little bit more ethnically ambiguous, you know? But again, she is still Palestinian, so it's not like she doesn't have that right, and it's not like that's not already in her blood. Like, that's definitely not what I'm saying. But yeah, like, it's kind of like similar to that. Like, I would see that growing up rather than like straight up brown models. So I don't think I've ever actually had that representation. I think I just looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, yeah, I like creating art. I like modeling. And then I just got the opportunity in college and I just rolled with it. So I really just kind of became my own role model. And I met other brown models similar to my height and also similar to my ethnic background and everything who are also trying to pursue the same thing, like as I was going on my own personal journey. So I think we've all just kind of become each other's role models, you know?
So the mirror was your role model, basically.
Yeah, basically.
You could carve your own path. You see it right here. You're the only model in your family, basically.
Yeah, I
so
am actually.
Carve your own path.
A lot of stigma going on there, but it's okay.
And speaking, you ever, because you know you said freelance, you ever dealt with like suspect photographers or like photographers like, come in this alleyway right here, come in this little dark room, and they dim the lights and then some weird stuff going on. Like,
I mean, you always got to be careful for the
photographers.
You never. Everybody's a photographer.
Don't forget, like some of these photographers, they trying to get some action too. Like you know, some of them they'll try to flirt, and the entry point is by being a photographer.
Exactly. The photo shoot would turn to OnlyFans real quick. So it's like, have you ever dealt with any?
No, for sure. I did have an experience when I first started out modeling. I was like, I think I had just turned 18.
Fresh out the box.
Yeah, fresh out the box, basically. So I was young and naive, and like this was like my like fourth, I think, modeling job that I had. And I think it was the first one with someone close to my age, I think. And it was a shoot that was located at a park. And that should have been the first, I mean, it would have been the first red flag, but I had also done like photo shoots in the park with like a close friend before, and like that ended up fine. This, however, was not a close friend, but I just had a lot of trust in the universe at the time. And I remember when I showed up, the guy was like, do you want to do implied nudes? And I was like,
Jesus.
What?
I gotta start bringing the Bible. Yeah. Sorry.
You gotta bring the Bible.
Yeah, sorry, it's too much.
You gotta bring holy oil, holy water. No, just stay away. No, but I remember this guy was like, yeah, like I'll just turn around, you'll just like take off your top or whatever. And I was like, okay, what? Why are you turned around? I told you already. I'm not doing this. Why are we pretending that this is gonna happen? Are you manifesting it? Like what? So he turns around and he's disappointed that my top is still on, and I'm like, I'm good. Like we can move on to some different shots. Like we can do beauty shots, and he's like, no, that's okay. I'm done. And
Oh,
I
just
was
like
like,
that.
I was like,
It's a
okay.
setup.
Yeah, he just checked out. And we were just walking back to the main part of the park where I would catch the bus home and run away from this guy forever. And I was just making like small talk to make it a lot less awkward because it was sufficiently awkward. So I got to do what I got to do to just get by. And I was like, what was one of the worst photo shoot experiences you had? Like, do you have any funny stories? And he was like, I haven't had any like worse ones, but it's always like a bummer when they don't want to do like implied nudes. And I was like, gotcha.
Gaslighting? That's gaslighting?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I never talked to him again. But thankfully, nothing since then. I've been really careful.
So for any photographers that are watching, what exactly are you looking for in regards to collaborations?
Yes.
Right? Because now you mentioned you're switching things up,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to charge for your time.
Yeah.
So what's the criteria now?
Like, do you mean collaborations in pertinence to like paid shoots or just like free shoots? Because usually collaborations aren't paid.
Oh, okay. So let's say paid shoots, because you're all done with the collabs, right?
Yeah.
Because okay, so let's say for the paid shoots, what
Mhm.
exactly what's exactly your preference now?
Definitely beauty shoots and fashion shoots. Basically the same thing that I've been doing really, except paid more consistently. Most of them are paid anyway, but just trying to make it more of a consistent thing. So recently I did a shoot. This was a collab though, and it was with a photographer that's really, really talented, who's also my friend at this point. It was, so basically, it was like a wet look. I felt like a mermaid. Like my hair was like slicked back and like some of it was purposely gelled to my face and there was like editorial makeup on, and we just experimented a lot with backgrounds and different lighting and things like that. And it was a really cool experience. Like I love when shoots can be super experimental. And if that could be one of the components of like a paid shoot that I do, then of course I'm down. Usually those honestly happen more though for like collaboration shoots because there's like less risk going on. And usually for paid shoots, there's like a set tone and a set theme, you know, that I'm there to fulfill. Like I am the canvas, you know? I'm the blank canvas, like the makeup artist, the hair artist, the photographer, like they'll project onto me whatever their vision is, and my job is to just like
Sell it.
just sell it. Exactly. So, you know, if I had a paid shoot that was a little bit more experimental, that would be really cool. But essentially just any beauty and fashion shoots where I get to represent a brand, or I get to just sell a product in a way that a photographer or like a brand designer or a makeup artist or a hairdresser envisions. Like that's ideal for sure.
How do you hold? What's the longest photo shoot you ever had? And like how do you hold poses for a long period of time? Because I know it's like a skill. Like not everybody can do that.
That's a very good question.
Yeah, like how do you?
Yeah, I still struggle honestly sometimes.
Oh,
But firstly, it takes a lot of core strength. I will say that. But sometimes I'll just work with the photographer, and the photographer will be like, "Yeah, I'll let you know when I go." I'll say like 3, 2, 1, and then you just do the pose, and then we'll see how it comes out, and we'll do it over and over and over. And sometimes that's happened to where the shoot will be like 3 hours long, but at the same time I always have so much fun with my photographers, and I'm always like chatting with them and with the makeup artist, the hairdresser, and like other models there. So sometimes
feel
that
it,
also
yeah.
adds on to the time. Like I never really feel the hours passing by. It just kind of happens.
So do you feel any pressure like staying in shape or like maintaining? Like how do you stay in shape? Because you know you got these. We all West Indian over here, so it's like you know that roti, that curry go be hitting, and you know the samosas.
It do.
the
I just
samosas.
had curry chicken before I
There
came.
you go. That's why you laid back. You chilling right now. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
feeling
yeah.
good about yourself, right?
Oh my God, I just said chicken curry.
Yeah, either or, tomato.
I'm so sorry to all my Guyanese people
Nah,
watching.
they good.
Yeah. I hope the Trinis don't take this and run.
Oh, man, that's another side.
But honestly, I just try my best to keep a balance. Like John just got me a donut because I was craving a
Try to
donut.
set you up.
But I'm not gonna go home and eat like 12 more donuts, you know? Like I try to keep a balanced diet. And also, Guyanese food in the first place is pretty full of nutrients. In the first place, like there's a lot of vegetables involved, and there's like the right amount of carbs as well. So, and you know, everything tastes great to me also because I grew up with it. So it's just about keeping that balance. And I already have a pretty like balanced diet as it is as a Guyanese woman. So, and also just drink a lot of water and take care of your skin. Make sure to engage in some sort of movement, like whether it's like yoga or like even like a 5-minute workout every day. Like I have a lot of back pain, so I do stretching. I do some yoga at home. I don't know the names of all the poses, but I see things online and I'm like, okay, that works for me. Yeah, and I'll just engage in some movement, or I'll go on a walk or a jog around my neighborhood. Or like if I can afford to walk somewhere, if it's like a 20-minute walk, I'll choose to do that instead of like Ubering or using the bus or something.
Smart.
Yeah, I don't do anything too intense. Again, I have back pain, so I can pull a muscle. But I will do like light workouts to keep my shape and just keep it balanced.
So
keep it pushing,
you heard
keep
what
it
she said.
balanced.
You got to stay active out here.
Yeah.
If you want results, you got to stay active. You got to work for it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be intense. Just engage
Yes.
in some sort of physical activity for at least like 10 minutes every day, 10, 15 minutes every day.
Maybe 30. Yeah,
Maybe 30.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
30.
yeah. How do you build relationships with other models? Like other models in the industry, you know,
Mm-hmm.
connections, network. Like how do you approach them? How do you do it?
Yeah. Well, if I have questions for them, I will just DM them, and nine times out of 10 English, they're really sweet. Like I haven't met a single model that's like stereotypically like bitchy the way that they're portrayed in social media or
Stereotype.
talked about by men. Like it's by some men rather. They're all so sweet. They're wonderful, and they're really willing to help because they also know the struggle. And 9 times out of 10, the models that I'm reaching out to are also of like a similar ethnic background to me, or are also like petite models, and they're usually more than willing to help because we identify with the same experiences, and we identify with the same like stigma within our communities and everything. And they're always really helpful. Either that, or I'll just meet them at a photo shoot and we'll just get to talking about our careers and how we ended up where we are. And sometimes we'll even end up staying like long-term friends and getting dinner after and staying in contact and just hanging out. Yeah, I've made a lot of friends that way actually. And it's just about putting yourself out there and talking to them, just letting your guard down, and again, like being open-minded, taking advice from them. You learn so much from them and you gain these incredible friendships. So
Yeah.
Gotcha. So when is this website going to be ready? Because you know we have to hold you accountable.
Yeah, that's what we do over here. Everything
no,
I
I
see.
appreciate that. I really
That's
do.
what we do.
Hopefully by the summertime / springtime, because I do have so much that I have to do in terms of like schooling and career and education and such. So
tough.
I'm just trying to, it is tough. So I'm just trying to catch up with that because sometimes I'll get so wrapped up in that, and then modeling things aren't on my radar. And then on the other end of things, sometimes I'll get so wrapped up in trying to get signed to an agency and like pursuing things creatively with my modeling career that I'll like completely ignore my long-term career goals. And it's a difficult balance to maintain, I will say. But hopefully the website will be available by spring, summer. We'll see.
We have a famous question. So you said you've been doing this for what, 5 years?
Yeah.
5 years? How old are you? You like a baby a little bit. You got to clarify. Like,
I'm 24. I said that.
24? No, just to reiterate.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing we really want to know is how is that paper looking? Because you dipped right now.
Mhm.
The patent leather boots, the nice sweater, the hair's done, the Fenty, the makeup, the earrings, everything is looking, the $100 donut right there. Like, so we want to know how that money is hitting.
She
What
don't
that
wanna
account?
she don't want to talk about it.
What that account?
I asked her about the rate. She didn't want to.
What that account? What
Yeah.
them pockets looking like?
Yeah,
That's what we want. That's the real
People
question
want to know what the money looking like.
for the young girls watching.
Good question. It's never about the money,
Great
guys.
question.
You hear that? You hear that? Come on.
Money's okay right now. Could it be better? Absolutely. Could money always be better for everyone?
We need it.
Probably.
She's not gonna disclose the rate.
Yeah.
She not gonna
Not
disclose
gonna
Keep it
the rate.
professional.
You gotta DM me.
Keep it professional.
You
Huh?
gotta DM me.
Professional.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
trying to
private.
find that bank account for y'all, but I guess can't find it out.
They tried it.
Yeah, we definitely tried it. So would you recommend this career path for the young brown, black, white, anything girls coming up that want to follow in your footsteps or any model's footsteps or just want to do this for a living?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. If this is something that you're really passionate about, it can be very rewarding. And also, you build such a wonderful community. I think that's the main thing that especially POC and models who are POC need is just a sense of community, just someone to relate to. And you find so many of those people when you keep getting these opportunities. Like, I've made so many friends in my career as a freelance model thus far, and hopefully will only continue that when I'm signed to an agency,
Yes.
God willing, soon.
manifest?
Yeah, manifest it, manifest it.
See that a lot.
Yeah, and honestly, it's very rewarding. Like, you get to indulge in artistic endeavors, and you get to be a blank canvas for photographers, makeup artists, hairdressers. Like I've been saying this whole time, even for other models. Like I've had other models photograph me as well, and they have great visions as well. Just you get to meet all of these multi-talented people, build such a wonderful community of creatives who give you this amazing advice, who put you onto other opportunities. Like I've been given countless opportunities just by networking. Like it's just about getting your foot in the door, and then from there you're set. Like and if you really are someone who enjoys modeling and being in front of the camera, it's so worth just at least trying. Like when you get in front of it, you'll really, and you're able to indulge in it, you feel like you're flying. Like you feel like you're on top of the world. It's a great feeling, and you feel like art in that moment. You feel like more than just another ordinary person walking the earth. I mean, I feel like most models that I know personally also have to be in school, and they're getting their degree, they're getting that education, and they have other long-term goals in mind. But it's nice to have a life outside of that as well, and to have a nice hobby where you can just kind of like put all of your frustrations aside with the rest of the world and just be in the moment. And I think modeling allows me to do that. So if that's something you're interested in, I feel like that would be your experience as well. And it's just great to have a life outside of
Typical.
Yeah,
that's true. So do you have any, looking back, knowing what you know now, you have any regrets? Like, oh damn, I should have went because women are making money a lot of different ways now. Like, I should have went the dark route. Because they make money way faster going the dark route.
Hold on.
Going the dark route.
What's the dark route?
The dark route, the OnlyFans, BBL modeling. There's a lot of different modeling techniques and different styles and industries where they make money way faster, but is in the long run is not really conducive to anything like a healthy career or healthy lifestyle, stuff like that. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you ever thought of it, so no regrets of like saying, damn, I should have went that way. I would have made more money way faster, stuff like that.
Well, I think I definitely should have started charging earlier, honestly, because then I would have just been more consistent with that, and I would have just held my ground at an earlier time. Like I feel like the earlier you start charging, of course, once you have built up a portfolio already, or like sufficient enough of a portfolio already, like I would say like maybe like 8 to 10 shoots in, you should start charging. Yeah, I feel like the earlier you're able to do that, then the better you'll be at keeping those boundaries. Like I've definitely wavered with those boundaries, especially when I thought, like this photographer is really like established and up there, like I'll get good exposure. Exposure doesn't pay. Let me repeat that.
Repeat it.
Exposure doesn't pay.
Yeah, you can whisper. It's a microphone. It's loud.
It does not pay.
They hear you.
Charge, okay? Charge that rate.
Yeah, like how much?
That money.
He keeps trying it, y'all. Like, I don't know what to do with this man. I asked him to go get me a donut, and then he took that and ran with it.
Look, I'm trying to get some info for the audience, but
y'all can DM me. My DMs are open.
DMs are open. DMs will be in the description. So
right down.
Yeah.
Below us.
But continue. What were you saying?
I forgot. Yeah. Something I wanted to add on though is I don't think that using OnlyFans and all of that is really the dark route. Unless women are being like exploited or forced to, it's really not. No,
it's not a dark route.
No,
there's no coming back from that.
I mean,
you done after that. Like,
I mean, if a woman fully consents to it and they're making money and they're okay with it, like that's
$8 a month.
That's fine. $8 a month. No, I know women who are getting paid thousands.
But if OnlyFans goes down, that's it. They can't go anywhere else. Nobody gonna take them serious or like sign them up for anything. Because as soon as you see that woman, I know who you are, boom, it's done.
I mean, then maybe that's the problem of the people that judge them,
That's society.
Sometimes people just gotta make a living somehow,
So how about we do this? We'll get into that in a later episode. Right? We'll have you back on. We'll talk about OnlyFans. We'll talk about
More than happy.
your past relationship.
Yeah.
We'll get into those
Tumultuous.
topics, right? So,
We'll talk about your past
Oh
relationships.
no, it's you. Whoever's on the couch. That's the
Whoever's
focus.
on the couch,
That's the.
yeah.
We don't answer questions. We ask them.
Yeah, they don't care
We
about
ask
me.
them.
They don't care about
They
me.
care about the women.
Okay, I care.
They don't care about me. They care about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about you.
hmm
Trust me.
So
Trifling.
so here's the thing. So I'm close friends with a woman that runs scouting and development. And for anyone watching that's currently working for an agency, please give us your name and 3 reasons why they should work with you.
Okay. So my name is Sonia. 3 reasons why you should work with me. Firstly, one thing that I mentioned earlier is I'm very open-minded. I like to make art come to life. I'm very good at interpreting certain ideas, and I'm very good at emulating them. And I'm definitely amazing at selling a product, at selling a service, And I think that that's one of the things that people look for in models the most, because essentially what we're doing is selling a product. So I'm definitely very good at emulating ideas, and I think that ties in with open-mindedness. Secondly, I find myself to be very professional as well. So if there's an entire setup, if there's like an entire theme going on, if there's a schedule going on, I will adhere to that and respect that always. I feel like it's always important to not just, I mean, of course it's important to go with the flow of things as well, but also if there's a stringent schedule, it's important to respect that, because I mean, that schedule is ideally there because, there's a whole plan in mind. And if something in the plan goes amiss, then the whole thing collapses. So I've definitely learned in my past 5 years as a freelance model that it's important to stick to schedules, and it's important to stick to the plan, in addition to being like open-minded. It's definitely a balance. And lastly, I think I'm just easy to work with, honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I like communicating about ideas. Like I said, I like bringing them to life. I just like being a blank canvas, and I like being in front of the camera and taking direction and working with the photographer and working with the designer, working with the MUA and everything to, quite literally bring about the best angles of their work and just convey that on camera in the best way that I possibly can as a model. And just in communicating with the entire team, just communicate with the rest of the world who sees the photo that, this is what everyone has contributed. This is their art. This is what they provide, and just being the catalyst of their services getting out there, and just being the catalyst of their work getting out there and receiving the praise that it deserves.
All right.
You like taking the lead, all right, fellas? Give them DMs. She's submissive. There you go.
Well, this was a good conversation.
Yeah, it
Thank
was.
you. Thank you
Mhm.
for joining us.
Thanks for having
And here
me.
at Everything NYC podcast, we want to hear from the folks with interesting stories. We want to hear all about your journey, and we want to be able to provide that exposure for you to help you get to where you need to be. And so that is it. I don't know if you have anything else.
No, she
That
explained
is
everything.
it. Thank you for joining us this evening. We got a chance to explore the career of modeling, and stay tuned for more amazing content. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure.